Write verses for those who cannot write verses. Give voice to the voiceless. Compose poems for those who do not even know poems exist. Advocate for those in need. Boldly broadcast silenced points of view. Shine a redemptive light on those who are demonized. Shine a brighter light on the demonizers. Destigmatize society's castaways. Be the spokesperson for the exiled and marginalized. Become a change agent for the powerless. Reveal the truth behind the ads. Expose the secrets autocrats and plutocrats hide. Disclose the chronicles oppressors want to silence. Aim a light where tyrants want darkness. Tell the stories official histories have erased. Provide a stage for unheard voices and unseen faces. Unlabel those who have been tagged as other. Change the meaning of epithets. Knock down the barriers raised by prejudice. Alter the meaning of the things that make us biased. Shrink the distance separating us from the ostracized. Challenge our minds to question assumed truths. Unplug the ears of those who refuse to listen. Let your true voice be heard fearlessly. Tell the truths which shall make us free.
That's interesting.
Who is this guy?
Wow.
Well, this guy is a guy who, from the outset, has presented these poems, which, to my mind, are essays.
Yeah.
He's talking to us as an essayist would, to get things right, get the footnotes in there if necessary, and there you have it, And so it's interesting, and we can always discuss the issues that he raises in his essays. As poetry, I don't know. Poetry is such a broad category, but I just don't know if it...
Is it okay?
At the bottom
What?
of it,
What he does?
Well, we have acknowledged whatever, etc. I just... The category of poetry is so broad that it's difficult to say what's in and what's out.
It is entitled The Landlord and Other Stereotypes. The shortest melodrama in the English language is reproduced here for you. The villain with a mustache says, "You must pay the rent," and a pretty damsel in distress with a bow in her hair says, "But I can't pay the rent." The villain, "You must pay the rent." Damsel, "But I can't pay the rent." The hero, wearing a bow tie, "I'll pay the rent." The damsel, "My hero." And the villain says, "Curses foiled again."
And you can do that if you fan fold a piece of paper, and then you say, "You must pay the rent." "I can't pay the rent." "I can't." "I will." "My hero curses." But sometimes you get mixed up and get it.
Well, I was struck, I guess this was inspired by, God forbid, the possible next president of the United States, Donald Trump, who is
All 15 Republicans are wonderful, I think, Mike.
surging.
Charming chaps.
the ultimate in...
But anyway, he mouths stereotypes so ridiculously and offensively that it inspired me to think about stereotypes. So that's my inspiration. Stereotypes are, and it rhymes, by the way, in this little couplet. Stereotypes are both cruel and curious. Are Jews money lenders and usurious? Are Mexicans lazy, Latin lovers amorous? Scientists mad and movie stars glamorous? Consider the greedy slumlord we love to boo-hiss. Loathsome lecherous landlord, nothing worse than this. Are most blondes dumb and ditzy? Car salesmen sly liars? And most immigrants criminals and or drug suppliers? No, Jews aren't usurious. Lazy Mexicans are rare. Mad scientists are few. Most landlords are fair. Yet if these vile images are untrue and crude, why is decrying them deemed partisan and rude? Odd how the atypical becomes stereotypical, how images become tropes and segue to cynical. Such Procrustean notions pollute thinking capacity and lead far too many to accept their veracity.
Tongue twister.
What is the Procrustean?
Oh, he's one of my favorite mythological figures. Procrustean waits at the highway wayside, and he has a bed. And he stops travelers and he measures them to see if they'll fit in his bed. And if they're too short, he stretches them. If they're too long, he lops off the legs to make them fit. It's someone who makes everything fit into their preconceived notions. So Procrusteus is a mythological figure, and one of my favorites.
I thought you were going to say he was the pie maker.
The pie maker.
Procrustean?
The first pie maker too.
But anyway, that's what Procrustean
Yeah.
means. It's a
Tom wants to know if they're an anti-crustean.
the Rosicrucians. I've heard about that. Anyway, sorry for it to be preachy, but Donald Trump provokes me just by looking at him. He makes me angry.
Everybody's going to be blaming him soon.
He does need a new haircut.
Well, it's interesting, you know, that he and Bernie are the ones that are grabbing the large audiences. And Bernie, of course, is the guy who says like it is, at least that's my estimation. You know, he's unusual for a politician in being so frank and straightforward. Whereas Trump is so wild that he's everybody's delight as far as something to poke at, you know?
Yeah, I think that's one reason he gets such big crowds, is so people can tell what we get. It's just
theater, really.
Ignore the man.
He's a consummate actor.
What makes Trump doubly offensive is that there seems to be a need for people to actually defend themselves and to try to criticize the stereotypes and to say, well, you know, most Mexicans are not criminals and rapists. Most Jews are not usurious. Most people are, you know, that we go on at length on our newscasts, opinions, you know, trying to rebut what seems to me patently absurd. The guy makes a stereotype that has no standing. I mean, it's like the Nazis or something, and yet people elaborately feel they have to rebut him. I'm glad they're rebutting, but it's a sad commentary that we need to rebut these terrible
And
stereotypes.
yet, there are so many people that identify with this.
Oh, yeah.
And it's, to my way of thinking, it's a justification for their feelings of alienation, which so many people have in this society today.
Yeah.
They feel that they're outside what's being
Well,
illustrated.
it's a great failing of the news media, once again, that we criticize regularly, because in this enlightened, educated world, you would expect that the news media would be able to comment a little about stereotypes and so forth, rather than give equal time to whatever weird notions may gather some kind of attention.
And feed the dialectic that actually,
Yeah.
you know, exacerbates that feeling of alienation. There's a YouTube video that has taken, over the last week, all the mentions of Donald Trump and strung them together so that you've got Anderson Cooper and Katie, or whoever the talking heads are nowadays, I can't remember who they are. And every time they mention the name Donald Trump, they string these together into like a 5 or 10 minute video that is just one person after another repeating this name over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And but that's what gives ratings, I guess.
Well, I think that's one thing he's looking for.
Excuse me.
I was just going to say, before we go
I'm Chris
any further-
Cooper.
What?
I'm Chris Cooper.
Hi.
I'm a longtime Athens resident, Probably
Probably say
Brat.
our names because there's so many.
Couple new people who need to.
And it's,
I sent Joseph a couple of quotes from Jose Marti, which I thought fit both of his works. The revolutionary poet, Jose Marti.
Very famous about Jose Marti is like Bolivar. He's very well known.
Well, I was amazed that anyone in my country would vote for Richard Nixon. And my opinion of the voting public in the United States has gone downhill since that time. Steadily downhill, yes. No.
he was a strange man. He was both very good and weird as hell. I mean, he wasn't stupid, but he was also very peculiar. He was. That's putting it mildly.
Oh, yeah. He was an outsider of the Washington establishment. I'm ashamed to say I voted for him both times.
Well, I was able to vote when he was running, so I can claim.
But my record on voting is so poor.
He was an outsider. His wife just wore a plain cloth coat.
Yeah.
Republican cloth coat.
Well, he was also an orphan, and not raised in the Ivy League.
Claims.
Yeah.
I had a run-in with one of Nixon's dear friends, Baby Reboso's sister, and which got me on the FBI list for quite a few years. So
Congratulations.
Yeah.
I think they put a lot of poets on the FBI.
Well, poets traditionally with dictatorships, they're often about the first one to get wiped out.
Goes back to Joe's poem.
Yeah, that Joe hit the tune for the day, didn't he?
Correct, he did.
Yeah.
Okay, civil liberties.
Okay.
This does not rhyme, but it follows a pattern, the beginnings of each stanza. Yesterday I walked the streets of Waco draped about with weaponry, a Glock strapped at my waist, an AK-47 over one shoulder, another assault rifle over the other. Police eyed me, but no one stopped me. The peace was not thought to have been disturbed.
Hi.
Today, I walked the streets of Waco wearing nothing, absolutely bare. I've gone scarcely 2 blocks when 2 police officers arrive. They do not question me, they just cuff me and bundle me off to the station for indecent exposure. Tomorrow I will walk the streets of Waco wearing no clothes, but again draped about with guns and ammunition belts. Now what? Which is the indecent exposure? Will anyone question my right to bear?
That's
great.
That was punishing.
This next one is not quite finished because I hadn't thought what to do with Fatima, but I've come up with an answer. So, comes around. Judy and Alicia, in the glow of love, applied for a marriage license. Karen refused to issue it, saying to do so would violate her religious beliefs. At lunchtime, Karen ordered a pulled pork sandwich, which Reuben refused to serve, saying his religious beliefs prohibited the eating of pork. Reuben called a realtor, asking to be shown a house for sale. Fatima refused to show it, saying her religious beliefs prohibited her being alone with a nominated man. Now, Fatima's going to go talk to Judy and Alicia for some reason or other, who won't deal with her because she's left-handed and the Bible prohibits left-handedness in at least 7 places. Stop for a moment. Let's go around and introduce ourselves to someone that's suggested. I'm Patricia Black.
Tom Shostak.
Robin Schaefer.
Chris Cooper.
Ruth Riley.
Joyland School.
Nan Michael.
Sven Lundsgold.
Bob Berardi.
Paul LaShivo.
Kathy McDonald.
Connie Bradford.
Felix Galliano.
And I'm still Patricia Black.
He's still
The poem is called The Chair. Hello. The gentleman looked mystified by what he heard, unclear at whatever may have produced the word. Yes, you, sir, look over here. I am a chair. With that, the man could not help but stare. Ah, now you see. Come, please sit on me. Silence. But the man could not just let it be. A talking chair? No way. This must be a trick. Otherwise, God help me, he smirked, I must be sick. He wondered and pondered, scratched his head, unable to fathom all that had just been said. Then he decided he would simply play along. After all, he thought, what could go wrong? Anyway, he quipped, if I do, you will get hurt. Well, the response was swift, blunt, and curt. You must understand, sir, I am already broken. The speech was articulate, the words clearly spoken. That's why I'm a chair. Anyway, what do you care if I am stressed or in pain? Besides, is it not only fair that what's been broken have something to say? Let's face it, you would not have it any other way. Resigned yet intrigued, the man entitled to sit shook his head and looked around for just a bit, while the chair took its expected receptive pose. 'Tis a little foolish, the man surmised, but here goes. Okay, I'll sit, but only briefly, for then I must go, he said while thinking, somehow this cannot be so. But it is, sir, and you can stay a while. Why leave me? I will provide you with great comfort, believe me. Things broken and hurt are meant to be used, are they not? By those of you who stand accused of hubris and wealth, privilege and pride. Are we not here for you? Set your doubts aside. The man smiled, knowing where he stood. Aware of his position, he sat, and it was good.
Nice imagination. I like the juxtaposition of pondered and wondered.
How did you start it? What?
There's a lot in this poem. I took a lot of time with this. And it has several levels of meaning to me. It started by, I think it started with my poem a few weeks ago about the house and talking objects and how objects have a voice, need a voice. So I started by saying, I'm a chair, please sit on me. That was my first line. And then I came to the understanding that we use objects and we don't have any thoughts about them, we just use them. And I found that that's the way it is with people, that we use people without really thinking about them. And that those who are broken and hurt are most often used. And abused. Or abused, yeah. So that's how it all began.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
We just walk on them. And I think there are people we just sit on.
And you don't see them.
Pardon me?
You don't see them.
Exactly, exactly.
Okay. I just got back from New York, so I'm at a Manhattan subway poem.
Wait till the I'll get
Oh, I'm
around.
sorry. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. A Manhattan subway poem. Hey, MTA, show us you got manners today. Woman assists an elder pair, shows the way to the Uptown Red, then shoves the folks into the crush of sardines standing. Still not enough, she yells. Here they come, y'all get moving. Hey, MTA, subway plan for lunch today. 2 dudes a half a car away. Fingers clicking, eyebrows lift. Hands are waving, thumbs go up. Gourmet, what do you say? Hey, MTA, fine arts on tattoo today. Gotta be Kandinsky, man. Saw your ink up on the wall. Yeah, man, my guy's a designer. Then his sleeve slid up his arm, a crimson sun. Real art, yeah, no doubt about this one. Hey, MTA, think about kindness to pets today. What's in that box? It looks alive. It's a 2-headed turtle en route to the vet. 3 hot girls, eyes on the box. Did you have to pay extra for 2 heads? But how about express? It's too many stops on the local. Do they fight? Well, one's mean and one's sweet. Want to pet 'em? Doors open. Hey, MTA, subway flirts are on today. A sexy babe is talking loud. What I hate is... Cute guy leans close, gives her a test. Name 5 things you hate fast. Cats. Cats. Reggae. Cats. Stop, he says. I might just hate you. How about a whole new line? Hey, MTA.
Yeah, once again, I like the feeling that comes out of this, of being, having been on many subways in New York, the feelings are there. It's really nice. Get all of this going on.
We are the elders who were pushed into the car. I mean, there was no room, and this woman had given us directions, but she followed up right behind us, and then seriously, she pushed us into and yelled, "Here they come!" And we're like, okay, we're going.
I
thought that just happened in Japan.
Japanese subways.
Yeah.
They
There's people that
just,
that's their job.
yeah, shove people on
Back
there.
in.
I refuse to get on that.
You would what?
Well, I have. I went home from. I belong to the group of older people who we met for 10 weeks and.
Pretty cover.
Yeah. I'm a strange fish. I'm a university brat. I have my bachelor's and associates in zookeeping and zoology. I'm also an honors English minor, so I don't fit in any world. Shakespeare's Big Bang. All the world's a stage, as are all the words. Atoms singing to their quanta. SPF shells, subshells, roaring, spinning songs of energy, attracting, repelling neighbors. Some of good background, others from the wrong side of the periodic table. All the chaos entities in synergy whistling into the music of the spheres. Big bangs, black holes, come and go in orgasms of expansion and contraction, of unfolding of new worlds, new breaths, touches of God's creative. I don't like banana, baby got out my thesaurus, and I need to end with a different word. I don't like that at all, but along that line anyway.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Is that something, the booklet, something, collection of your poems?
No. It's, I have books at home of my high school stuff. No, this is just a collection of all the poetry that we produced. We were about 5, 6 women in a small class of Ohio Arts Council class that met at the Laurels for 10 weeks. It was really quite fun. I mean, some of the old women who lived at the Laurels, who were alliteral, I mean, couldn't read, couldn't write, but had a very creative, very fecund mind, and it was fun.
Great.
And there were 2, Marianne and I both were in another group. They were both with Wendy McVicker, and it was a wonderful experience.
Being a poet means never saying sorry.
One is arrival and one is departure.
Ruth just became a grandmother
Yes.
in Detroit.
Do no effort of our own.
What?
At least not
Patricia?
no effort of your own, at least in recent times.
Right.
Your effort was far in the past.
No responsibility either.
What hospital did you go to?
Grosse Point.
His arrival.
Beaumont at Grosse Point.
Yeah, the arrival will come, and they're coming after the departures, you know.
I noticed.
Okay.
Which one should we do first?
Depart.
Let's do arrival first. Okay.
Makes a certain amount of sense.
You got to get there before you can leave.
Yeah, right. Only 21 inches long and 8 pounds 9 ounces, about the size of a small watermelon, all curled up. but so powerful. We forget their transformative charge, the strength of their shock and awe. First, there's just huge relief he's alive and here. Then the giddy joy of looking, watching each spastic move and new cry. Oh, those sounds we love, even the wailing. All proof he works. He claims his space, his food, his love, and he gets it. Go baby. It may be the only time of life he looks at people without reacting. With open curiosity he studies our faces, unmoved by our antics to provoke, not smiling, not frowning. Blissfully unintimidated, he watches us with an intelligent, if unnerving, silence. Even calm, orderly households willingly get upended with speed. Dishes wait for diaper changes. Whispering parents forego badly needed sleep. This small, mostly closed-eyed marvel holds the key to hope like no other, his arrival blessing all, strangers included, the whole family made holy with love.
What must be going on in an individual, such as an infant, who has no preconception of what's out there? It's just all coming in. When we look, we put all of that stuff into a framework that we've already got. But this is stuff that is just coming in with no
It takes many years for that framework to develop. I mean, it's not complete. There was an interesting article, Scientific American, a couple of months ago, about the teenage brain and how it varies in difference between adult and child. It's
Well, we assume they have no preconceptions.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
We assume, yeah.
I think they are born with all the answers, but they just don't give them.
I don't know about that, but they certainly go from one cozy environment to one that's not quite so cozy.
What was that thing on the news that
Birth is such a loving time, but then the end stage is also equally loving, but in a completely different way. And I don't know, it just prompted me to write this extra poem here. Departure. One day he's a healthy young man. The next he slides onto the floor in a grand mal seizure. A brain tumor encroaching, uninvited, unwanted, but there. They operate. Now he can't speak or eat or move. He's transferred to a nursing warehouse. Someone saw him move a finger. Or he's old, white-haired, handsome, funny. It doesn't matter. Now he's half his former weight. Smart, important, degreed, all means nothing now. It won't talk cancer down, even if it's part of his long story. Pain pills keep him alive, just. At least he's home. The families gather to help, remembering them vibrant and well, adjusting to this new stranger with hearts still full of love and compassion for the person they knew. Watching then, the honest see their future selves in this body shell, beautifully reduced to pure spirit, sometimes postponing death for final farewells. In that psychic way, the dying know a loved one's still coming. What relief to leave it bit by bit, a soul triumphant in release. This earth journey completed.
great.
Wow.
Great.
Wow.
What inspired that?
So, did you write that this morning?
Space between arrival and departure.
Every 7 years, isn't it? Yeah. Isn't that amazing and remarkable?
Only we never miss any part of it too.
Yeah.
They using this it was such a good arm at one time. Let's do it. We're squat.
That needs to be filled in by all of us.
Yeah.
That's the part that we fill in. And I really struggle with this idea of who we really are. I mean, you look at a baby and I look at my own, I'm cleaning out my house, I'm looking at my baby pictures and where I am today, and there's nothing in common here. There's nothing. So what is it? What is that thing that is in the space between the two? I mean, I don't really know, but it's a wonderful. I'm glad you did the two together.
Oh,
Really
good.
nice.
Glad I tried.
Very thought-provoking.
Well,
Some
multiplying, doubling. And this body forms. But that spirit that enters in, that is not cellular. It is other dimensional. And that's the miracle, I think. Because what gets produced is unlike either parent, for sure. It's a complete unique being, even if it looks like grandpa or somebody.
Okay. Lament in search of a word. Rhymes, wriggling thoughts that slowly creep into the corners of written verse elude my waking hours, causing me to seek a different colored. And that's where you gotta give me a word.
I'd put mood.
Mood?
Mood.
Mood, M-O-O-D? Okay, mood.
That's a good one. Yeah.
What about you, Riz?
Rhythm.
Let me think about this for just a second. I need a pen in my hand to think properly.
How about seek different colored, seek, we got A, seek different colored movements.
Movement?
Seek different colored movement. I don't know, just.
I think you've already
Avenues.
said what you got
What?
here. It's word. The word is word.
Okay.
It's needed, so you can put it in
Seek a
there.
different colored word.
Yeah.
Different colored
That makes
vocabulary.
I think just word.
The word is good.
I thought we were going to have perhaps a little discussion of William Carlos Williams' The Red Wheelbarrow that's down in the
Well-
left quadrant of this.
Tom was going to suggest that, Tom suggested that, but I didn't get around to doing it, and nobody else did either.
Anyway, so this very famous poem on the lower left quadrant, The Red Wheelbarrow, is very, very famous, extremely famous, and extremely puzzling, I suppose you could say as well. But it is apparently loaded with depth and meaning, and that's what poetry does without any cadence or rhythm or rhyme or so forth. Just as thinking of this poem, though, I was out in the garden and I saw something and it suggested to me that this is something similar. And so that's the rain in the butterfly garden. The tall flowers lean to the sun, heavy rain beats them to the ground. That's it.
Plenty.
Well,
If you go to my butterfly garden this morning, they're really beaten to the ground after last night's 1 3/4 inch.
Color,
Pardon?
color. The thing is, he juxtaposes color.
The red and the white.
Uh-huh.
You don't.
Uh-huh.
I mean, you could have made your flowers like color. Yeah.
But
I
then
got brown ground and red flowers, but
on the other hand, you do have cause and effect here, so.
yeah, well, that's true.
And you have stunning rain.
Right.
Sounds like a James Taylor song.
Whatever.
There you go.
But let it work on your brain and see what else you come up with.
You know what this made me think of? The Princess Bride, for some reason, I don't know why. Where,
Do tell.
Well, we're, what's his name? The blonde-haired kid is paralyzed. Yeah, the Dread Pirate Roberts, I guess that's who he ends up being. And
Ode to my chair, if you will. Wheelbarrow, old friend, through 4 of your generations, you and I have met every day and walked together to haul up firewood, collect manure for the garden, mix concrete and dump it in place, move tons of fill dirt, and on happy days, give rides to grandkids with shrieks and laughter. We've worn down together with rust and aches, patched up with paint or with restorative pills. Your old tire leaks air, my knees make me limp, but we'll keep on pushing, carrying water to new plantings, eagerly starting each season, doing what we can to take joy together while improving our world. Ode to the wheelbarrow.
Well, I'm gonna give a happy wheelbarrow, which was sort of nice. A satisfied wheelbarrow.
Have you read the poem?
The poetry group.
You might have
Which was inspired right after I left. Poetry session.
But he doesn't say I ain't going back.
Here I am. The poetry group. I attend my friends amend, praising prose and shunning prose, letter changing, rearranging, charging writers to make it tighter, wordplay, rhyming, meter, timing. But who can say the meter matters? Or what's the word that should be heard? Or whether sense can recompense for what you heard and what was meant? Or what's unsaid and can't be read, existing only in one's head? And so unheard it can't be changed, and in the author's head remains the same. So now my friends perhaps may wonder, did he intend or did he blunder? The poet knows, and that's the pleasure. One man's trash, another's treasure. So welcome me, I come to play. I might not know just what to say, but let's have fun and find our joy. If you will help, I'll not be coy. And please go easy, for this is new. I've not yet learned the many rules. So even if the verse be terse, writing nothing could be worse. And I will try to write with style, and you may choose to crack a smile, or even have a tiny notion of what my thought or my emotion has for you to hear, perhaps a way to conquer fear, a path I choose to find my voice, a chance I take to voice that choice. I'll try it out, I'm not afraid. It's just a game I haven't played. It's not the end if I should stumble. Perhaps I'll learn to be more humble. You can see I have a little problem with public speaking.
Okay. I decided to be a little whimsical. And then, based on Ms. Cooper's work, I'm going to take a chance if this won't offend anybody. Delta of Venus, Mons Veneris, Labia Majora. What's it all for, huh? Love would seem likely, sex without a doubt, a place for tongues to hang out, a crossroad for legs, a cul-de-sac, port for passion, target of attack, oblivion abyssal, homey love shack, the answer's inscrutable, neither white nor black, society's dilemma, for women a fact, for men the source point for all that they lack. It's the end of beginning, the front of the back. All I know is I love it, and to what it's attached. Over the top. Just made me kind of proud. Thank you for your indulgence.
I do have.
If you were a blade of grass and I were a rabbit, I'd skip right over you. If you were a brilliant star and I were a galaxy, I'd ask you to join me too. If you were a greenhouse and I were a flower bed, I'd send my bulbs to you. If you were a steamship and I were a stowaway, we'd sail the ocean blue. If you were a dinghy and I were a sloop, we just might meet at sea. If you were a cat and I were a mouse, I hope you'd let me be. If you were an eagle and I were a hawk, we'd share the open skies. If you were a clown and I were a child, I'd laugh at your disguise.
In between, deep green, wet, and cool, the grass formed a backdrop for the burgundy-leafed Japanese maple. I paused to drink in the beauty. Like the sound of a whistle at a factory's shift end, tea water was ready. I paused to fill my cup. Ratcheting at low speed, the ceiling fan moves, the bergamot aroma, wispy-scented clouds penetrate the rooms. I pause to breathe in the calm. Cans of spray wax intermingle with dirty rags, window cleaner, paper towels, and a silent vacuum. Taking this time in between to sit, sip, smell, and see nature at birth.
Yes.
I'm sure it needs punctuation.
I don't know where to start.
I didn't edit it before I wrote it.
I like how you laid it out because it really helps establish a certain slow pace to it.
Oh, sure.
It's very nice, and you read it nicely.
The refrain is always
Yeah,
an
I
interesting
paused.
thing to use, and you've done it very well here, I think, the I pause refrain.
Yeah.
Connie, in the fourth line, the word drink. See,
It's almost a cliche.
yeah, and not only that, 4 lines later, you're filling your cup. So you put something ahead of that line.
Thought it was.
Uh-huh.
That's what I thought.
Like the tea, you know?
Yeah.
Bergamot used to be used in hair pomades.
Wow.
When we were in New York, we used to hear
Yeah.
ads on the radio or TV or whatever for bergamot.
It's got a lot of bergamot. Since we've run the gamut, as they say, do you want to go back to?
Or the Gamu, we've run the Gamu.
Do you want us to go back to your poems?
Is there time?
Yes,
there is.
Can I say one more thing?
No.
Sure.
I'm going to. I missed last week, but I didn't know, Tom and I were supposed to check out.
You were, and I didn't.
Okay, well, I called the Decorative Arts Center in Lancaster for a possible event, a possible day.
Doing a thing up there.
And they're sort of, I was advised that they're in festival mode right now, to call back at a later time. So that was-
January.
Well, the festival will be over at the end of July. But anyway, that's what I was going to report in on that.
Okay.
So, I might get some reaction to this.
Tell us what it is so we can find it among all these.
It's entitled "Hear the Voice?" Question mark. Hear the voice.
Do you have more copies?
There.
Sorry.
Yeah, well, I sent an email saying I would be late, but that I wouldn't be here.
Okay, can we begin?
Go.
Still looking?
I'll look at it.
It's on the other side of the parade in the butterfly garden, wheelbarrow. The other side of wheelbarrow.
Okay.
Got it.
Tip the wheelbarrow and hear the voice. Okay, here we go. Hear the voice. The voice of the wind murmurs, sometimes shouts through the trees. Thunder's explosions demand attention. Distant rumbles echo discontent. Political campaign voices holler shrill nonsense at great cost. The preaching evangelists brazen coups, citing grace or disaster. Disasters and calamities bring forth all the many voices preaching God's dictates. With our decades of great disruption by and upon all His creation, should we not now hear the very voice of God? How does the God now stay silent, letting others claim to speak for Him? How, I speculate, does one nominate oneself to be the messenger to whom God speaks? We all know it's a role that someone has adopted and to which a great many sapiens acquiesce as necessary to keep to the story. But it is all pretense, a social organizer. We like to be amazed, bewitched. We love our gimmicks and superstitions. Myths often have the greatest importance. We all play our parts, and the play goes on.
Question. When you say, how does the God now stay silent, is it appropriate to capitalize God in that context?
Don't ask me.
Oh.
That's
the author. I just
It's not my God.
You should ask her, huh?
So, we all know, is my message here. We all know that it's all pretense, merely a social organizer. From time immemorial, in cultures immemorial, in societies far and wide, it's all a pretense, a social organizer.
I don't think prophets would agree with it. Everybody knows that.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect to get agreement from everybody.
You've got some pushback on that, I think.
I think it's an interesting proposal, however. Lacking any evidence of a divine being over all these many years in many cultures and many societies, what keeps it going? It's
Maybe you're not
tremendously
asking the right
useful.
question.
It's tremendously useful to people.
Maybe you're not asking the right question, or you're not hearing the right responses that
I
are out
haven't
there.
been hearing the voice,
Well,
right?
just like Mark said, it's the opiate of the masses, and it's something that keeps people where they're supposed to be, or where some people want them to be.
Sure, it tells you what to do, how to appear, when to appear, who to look out for, who to obey, who to hate, what drinks to drink,
How
what
much of the
kind of
Bible
sex
have you-
to have, etc., etc.
How much of the
It did-
Bible have you actually read? How much do you know?
Very little.
Which Bible are you referring to?
Yes. Well, I can say
Yeah.
there are many different translations.
The original Greek Bible or
That would be
the
Greek.
Hebrew one?
Greek, Greek,
Septuagint.
Hebrew,
It's been
Aramaic.
translated, retranslated, it's full of errors and suppositions and
Now
so
again,
forth.
you're talking about something that you have said you have read very little.
That's right.
Now, as
I've
an
read some Bibles.
As an academia, right, you're an academic, then would you accept that from one of your students that was submitting a major paper, a treatise, a doctorate candidate? Would you accept that as doing their job of the research?
I accept the research of others, and there are some eminent researchers on Bible scholarship. I don't know how familiar you are with them. I can almost say the name of one very prominent one at North Carolina, that I've read a couple of his books. It's interesting to learn about the history of the Bible. This is a person who began, I shouldn't tell the story without being able to say his name, but he began as a true believer. So he wanted to learn more and more about it. So he learned ancient Hebrew, he learned ancient Greek. He dug into manuscripts wherever he could find them. His name is Emner or something like that. And that's one example of what one does if one wants to be a Bible scholar. But there are other religions and other books other than the Bible as well.
Well, I would say, just as you said that we shouldn't focus on the grammar, questions, points, then maybe this is a topic for outside of this poetry group.
Really?
Yeah, this is an extensive conversation, and one that I would love to have with you, but I don't think this is the proper setting.
Whether it is or it isn't, it's a question without an answer.
Well, I'm just trying to, I want to go back to your poem.
Yeah.
What is the question that you're asking here? Are you asking, is there a God, or should we hear the very voice of God, or what's the question that you're really asking?
The question is, where's the voice?
Yeah.
Where's the voice?
We're not hearing.
I
We're not hearing. Everybody is telling us what should be, and of course everybody doesn't agree with everybody else.
Anybody else.
There's another interesting book that Elizabeth Lesser wrote. Do you know who that is?
No.
She's one of the founders of the Omega Institute, and it's called Spiritual Seekers. And she's written this book about how Americans are unique spiritual seekers, and how we sort of cherry pick things. Like I like this about Judaism, and I like this about Islam, and I like this about Buddhism, and just sort of, and then we sort of created our own little spiritual thing. And this is something new in the world, according to her, where we're kind of.
Well, this country is compared to
but
most of Europe.
I don't know if she's actually speaking to where the voice is, but I found the book an interesting read about it.
I think the question you ask is one that is asked, has been asked for ages and ages and ages. This is not the only time of disasters. There have been disasters throughout history, and people want an explanation. It's like, somebody help me, in this disaster. And we look, or people have often looked beyond themselves, which is my problem with is we say, please come, whoever, please say something.
Oh God!
Instead of,
letting us battle through by ourselves.
Instead of looking at each other and saying, because I think that is the age-old question.
Well, this is to make the statement that it is merely a pretense, a social organization, a social organizer. That is my thesis. Like it or lump it, I present that as my thesis.
And Sven, in the beginning of Walt Whitman's, I don't know which book it is, I'm paraphrasing his quote, "One day we will all be our own priests." I like that. One day we'll all be our own priests.
Well, I think it would be hard to argue the fact that people have co-opted religion for their own aims and ends.
Well, that's sort of
the other
of that poem that I did.
That's what
comes around goes around. I can't do it because it's against my religion, and then somebody that's against that person's religion. And
the other part of the argument is this great fascination, temptation that we have to see magic, to ask for cures, to drink vinegar every day and you'll be whatever, or convert to juice, or we love magic shows at times. Some of us love magic shows. We love to be deceived.
Right.
I have to
We
tell
love
you,
mystery.
I don't think any of these things has ever worked. I mean, there's no evidence of that, is there?
Are you making my point for me?
I'm
What?
just saying that there's no evidence
But people
that
like
it ever
stories.
worked.
People like stories, and you choose the stories that help you in your life.
And those stories are very useful
They're
to
very
people.
useful,
To
yeah.
some domineering tyrants, they're very useful. To people that are foundering around, trying to find themselves in the world and so forth, they may be useful. But there's dozens and dozens and dozens of stories out there to cuddle up to if you're so inclined.
Well, thank
But
goodness.
I would submit to you that there's no empirical or statistical evidence that chemotherapy works to cure
Mhm.
cancer, and yet a lot of people sign on to the party line that that's the only treatment that's worth
Sure.
investing in.
We believe the doctors have a cure,
Yeah.
right? Whatever it is, there's a pill.
It is interesting and notable that it's been a part of the core human experience for all time.
Mm-hmm.
There's money to be made with it too.
Yeah.
It's spelled P-O-W-E-R.
I'm reminded of the great philosopher Donald Rumsfeld, who said that the absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence, or something along those
Something
lines.
like that.
The unknown,
The unknown knowns, the knowns that we don't know.
The absence of evidence is not evidence of absence.
He missed philosophy.
Very good.
I agree that
Many of those.
God should not be capitalized in that particular word.
That was
that's right.
just something that came out of me. You know.
Okay, now it's time for the next debate. Where are we gonna go for lunch? I would suggest table at Applebee's, and they'll put tables together. I went in there yesterday and checked.
I don't know where Applebee's is. Where
Right next door.
You say no
Next
to
to
you?
CVS.
Feeling better?
On the way.
Oh,
One block down.
No, I need to take off. I
Run
had a dental appointment this morning, and I'm still numb.
Nice to see you.
So I'm gonna do it, always a
At least you were
pleasure.
drooling.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, I'm hoping to join you for lunch with me.
Well, I suppose you come away with mixed feelings, but I hope it reinforces